this is definitely going to upset some of you guys, but it might not be as bad of news as you initially think, depending on your expectations, of course. What am I talking about? Well, today Marvel Games went ahead and officially confirmed that they will not be using the same strategy that they did for the cinematic universe in their video game universe. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, if you don't know, obviously, one of the most iconic things that we've seen in cinema over the course of probably the last 100 years is what has happened with the cinematic universe, where they went ahead and literally built a universe. We had movie after movie tie together and then build up towards giant conglomerate, massive blockbuster films where all these characters from these individual films would come together. We had Iron Man, Incredible Hulk, Iron Man 2, Thor, Captain America, and then all of them went ahead and teamed up in Avengers. And a lot of people were getting excited about a similar possibility being the case in the video game realm. And so today, Bill Roseman responded to just that question. If you're like, who the heck is Bill Roseman? Bill Roseman is actually the VP and creative director of Marvel Games. So if you ever want to hear any facts about Marvel Games, this is definitely the dude to go to. He was actually asked a question about this and whether or not this was the beginning of building out a universe for video games, because a lot of people assumed that that might be the strategy, especially with like developers like Insomniac Games, where it seemed like, hey, Marvel Spider-Man, Marvel Spider-Man Miles Morales, Marvel Spider-Man 2, and then the next game was Marvel's Wolverine. So could that imply that they are building out their own universe? Well, Bill Roseman answered that question and said absolutely not. Here's the quote to be exact. He was asked whether or not this is something that they're going with, and he said the following: "The world is amazingly, well, very familiar and accepting of the multiverse," implying that people are now accepting of the idea that there are different versions of these characters. We have all these different realities. Now they're all real, and we want to give everyone the freedom to tell their story. We don't want to say, you can't blow up the moon because this game over here by another studio needs the moon. We want to give everyone the freedom and the clear lane to tell their story. Which I think is a pretty wonderful way of surmising this opinion and this stance. I think that this is the smart thing to do personally. I understand the idea of how exciting it would be to see something like a Marvel Cinematic Universe, but a Marvel Gamerverse, I guess we would call it. I think that's all exciting and all, but I also believe that in video games, because it's an interactive experience, my experience and your experience will never be identical. That's what makes games so much fun. The way that you choose to play through a game will be completely different, or at least different in some ways to how I play the game. And maybe a mission that I find to be challenging, you might find to be very easy, and vice versa. And so I think that trying to create this uniform experience in video games is practically impossible. And so I think this is definitely the smart thing to do, is just keep all the games separate and have studios have as much freedom to tell whatever story, however they want to tell that story, so that then we have the best quality games possible. Let me know if you guys are disappointed by this news, or do you see it similarly to how I and clearly Marvel themselves sees it, where in video games it just would not work, and it is just simply better put to keep it as a standalone franchise. By the way, that is not to say that we can't get sequels within one genre of a game.
Pretty cool that I'm alive and have better days. I could walk, see, hear, I should celebrate. Think I could change my mind, maybe elevate. Living life, every day, late at night, not okay. All I want, and I pray, all I need are some better days. Yeah, all I need are some better days. Cause all I want is the better days. I'm kinda stuck between a rock.